Right now, somewhere in your house, there is a photo of you as a baby. You are smiling. You are reaching for something. Someone is holding you, and you have no idea who. You don't remember that moment. You don't remember any moment from those years. But here's the strange part. Your brain was working. It was learning faster than it ever will again. So where did all of that go? For most people, the earliest memory they can pull up sits somewhere around age 3 or 4. Everything before that is blank. Not blurry, not dim, just gone. And this isn't because your brain was broken or undeveloped. It's because it was busy doing something else entirely. Think about what a baby actually has to learn in the first 2 years of life. How to focus its eyes, how to control its hands, how to recognize faces, how to understand that objects still exist even when they disappear behind something. How to begin forming the sounds that will become language. That is an enormous amount of construction happening inside a single skull. And construction sites are messy. They are not good places to store delicate records. Researchers call this gap in memory infantile amnesia. The term was first used by Sigmund Freud, who noticed that adults could recall almost nothing from their early childhood, even though those years are filled with intense experiences. Freud had his own theories about why, many of which didn't hold up. But the gap itself was real, and it's been confirmed again and again in the decades since. So what's actually happening in there? One major piece of the puzzle is a part of your brain called the hippocampus. This is the structure responsible for taking short-term experiences and converting them into long-term memories you can retrieve later. Think of it like a librarian, taking loose pages of your day and filing them into a permanent archive. The problem is, in infancy, that librarian hasn't fully reported for duty yet. The hippocampus continues developing well into early childhood, and until it matures, it struggles to create the kind of stable, retrievable memories adults rely on. But here's where it gets stranger. Babies do form memories, just not the kind you can talk about later. Psychologist Carolyn Rovee-Collier ran a series of experiments with infants as young as 2 or 3 months old. She attached a ribbon from a baby's ankle to a mobile hanging above the crib. The baby quickly learned that kicking made the mobile move. Weeks later, even after the ribbon was removed, the baby would kick again the moment it saw that same mobile. The memory was there. It shaped behavior. It just never became a story the child could tell. This points to something important. There isn't just one kind of memory. There's procedural memory, the kind that lets you ride a bike without thinking about how. And there's episodic memory, the kind that lets you say, I remember the day I learned to ride a bike, and my dad was holding the back of the seat. Babies have access to the first kind almost from birth. The second kind, the kind built from language, self-awareness, and a sense of me experiencing this right now, takes years to come online. And language might be doing more heavy lifting here than you'd expect. Psychologist Katherine Nelson studied how children begin to form personal memories around the same time they begin acquiring language. Before a child can put words to an experience, that experience has nowhere to live. It can't be labeled, organized, or slotted into a timeline. Once a child starts narrating their world, even just to themselves, experiences start to stick in a way they couldn't before. Memory, in this sense, isn't just about storage. It's about having a framework to hang things on. So picture your brain at 18 months old. It's absorbing an overwhelming flood of sensation, light, sound, faces, textures, emotions. But it doesn't yet have the tools to package any of that into something it can retrieve as a memory of a Tuesday in March. It's all just raw experience, washing through a system that's still being built. Here's a question worth sitting with. If your brain was working that hard and learning that much, why would it not save any of it? The answer might be that saving it wasn't the point. Early childhood isn't about building a personal history. It's about building the equipment you'll use for the rest of your life. Your sense of balance, your ability to recognize a face as friendly or threatening, your capacity to predict what happens next based on what happened before. None of that requires you to remember the specific moment you learned it. It just requires the learning to happen and the system to update. There's a useful comparison here. Think about how you learned to walk. You don't remember the first time you stood up and took a step, but your legs remember. Your balance remembers. The lesson got absorbed into the machinery itself, rather than being filed away as a story above.